just to start with, it'd be great, Dragan, if you could just introduce yourself and your role and Mercer Celgar as well, the sort of background on the company as well would be great.
Yeah, my name is Dragan Trivanovic. I'm originally from Croatia and moved to Canada 1992 and moved to United States and after back to Canada and things like that, So I had pleasure to work on many different industries and companies, but I was always in maintenance field, and predictive maintenance I consider as my expertise so far. My present position is called Asset Condition Manager, and it's at Mercer Celgar, which belongs to Mercer International Corporation, which one has worldwide. Mostly our corporation is around wood products, means pulp and paper, and power. So basically, it's important to say that we produce pulp and power because tradition from pulp industry, they are self-sufficient for many years and producing extra power what we sell on the market.
No, fantastic. So just to start with, so how many years have you been at Mercer Celgar, Dragan?
It's about 17 years.
17 years? Oh,
17,
wow.
Yeah,
fantastic.
Exactly. 2006 I started here, And
wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah, and I didn't mention, I didn't mention myself. I have bachelor degree in mechanical engineering and I have master degree and specialize in maintenance. So this is my heart was always in maintenance side.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah. So what I want to do is to bring back your mind back to a time before Senseye, and just first of all maybe summarise how you were monitoring sort of your assets or machines before Senseye, and what challenges you were facing as well at that time.
Well, I can say that this mill, and I would say generally pulp industry, is forced on the market for many years and tight markets. And when I came here, basically, we still have vibration trends from 92. So that's basically tells you that there is the long tradition on predictive maintenance in our mill. And when I came here, I introduced automated diagnostic system from traditional diagnostics, which one was manually look at waveform, spectrum, trend, those things. We switched to automated diagnostic system to 2006, and we successfully used that product since then, and it's still in use. And basically, we would say that we consider ourselves as a advanced predictive maintenance department. And so that's mean automated diagnostic system means that we stop doing the traditional classical diagnostics. We basically had system which do diagnostics for us, and we after that challenge that system. So this is what we have in the place, and our challenges are right now because this product what we use successfully for many years is discontinued, and basically we will force to find another option how we're going to switch from automated diagnostic system, and being familiar with digital transformation, what's happening around the world, we knew that has to be one AI platform, from manual diagnostics in, I would say, from 2006, the automated diagnostic system, which one is basically rule-based system. Now we switching to one AI platform.
And you mentioned the AI platform actually. So what led you down the path to look at AI tools? You said, the market was talking about that. So had you done some initial sort of research and heard about sort of dug into sort of AI
Yeah,
tools a bit further?
yes, we did. We did. First thing, I'm part of panel from ARC, is one of the big automation consulting company worldwide, and they are basically reviewing what's happening in the market, and they provide you what's the forecasting of new industries, and they basically new technologies, and they are specialized in digital transformation and integration. And being member of that organization gives me an open wide what's happening on the market, what's the best tools, what's happening. So we had that my personal affiliation with what organization like this, and also we had a chance to try pilot projects, more than one, and based on those pilot projects, we start working with Senseye. I think 2018 or 17 or 18 or something like that. So we did pilot project, and after that we tried to another pilot project and third. So we did 3 pilot projects, and based on those pilot projects and personal knowledge and those things, we choose Senseye.
And so why did you choose Senseye in the end? What was the sort of defining factors for choosing Senseye?
When we did pilot project, first thing we compare with some others, and not only some others. We as a active member of personally, I was presented on, I would say, I think more than 15 reliability conferences. I had the opportunity to have contacts with other companies who are using other providers. Even my previous employer, which I worked with, one of the biggest smelters in the world, they have experience using one of AI providers, probably right now more than 10 years. So I had opportunity to get shared their experience. So yeah, we did that pilot project, and what we like it, why we choose Senseye. One of the main reasons that Senseye show that we are actually believers that combination about structural and non-structural learnings gonna be best option or fastest way to do digital transition to new AI platform. We had the opportunity to play with some pilot project, which one is strictly based on unstructured learnings, and we found out that process of learning is very, very slow, because if you consider in our industry, our technology, we have heavily how you say variable speed applications, different loads, processes very dynamic and changed. And traditional unstructured learning would be huge, I would say, time to learn all those different things. So we think that Senseye show up, they can use certain rules, and combining with structural and non-structural learning, that would be, we think, most efficient way how to get a new word. Because for us, having experience with automated diagnostic system, which one is typical rule-based system, so we know certain rules which work very well. So our question is, why do we have to learn something what we already know? We are very good in that, and why not stick with that and now just expand on the future, add on that existing knowledge and skills what we already have, new way of learning. And this is why Senseye came up as a best fit for us.
And what would you say are the biggest difference between us and our competitors? So those other pilots. I know it sounds like I'm asking the question in a slightly different way, but there must be a reason why those other pilots fail for any reason, or not produce the results you were expecting.
But they didn't just fail. They were just relying on unstructured learning, and unstructured learning means you have to start from the beginning. And what was in our mill, we after many years we significantly reduced number of failures, and AI basically how it works to learn from failures. And if you don't have failures, it's very hard to learn. So our low number of the failures means not good. So basically perfect case for AI which one is relying on unstructured learning, give me lots of failures that we can learn quicker. And this is not case for us.
So what you're saying, even though you had a low number of failures, you were able to. Senseye was so the other competitor products required multiple failures in order to be successful and fit your use case. Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. Correct. That makes perfect sense. And so you mentioned about sort of shifting to more of an AI model, and it was mainly forced your hand because your existing tool. But what made you start thinking about sort of predictive maintenance or methodologies? How did you start on that journey towards predictive maintenance specifically?
So, as I mentioned, that we have quite a bit of history about predictive maintenance for many years, and from condition based to predictive, and what we're seeing basically, predictive maintenance is only step toward how we say advanced forecasting of the failures, and this is, we are not talking about forecasting just failures, we are talking about monitoring equipment performance too. So combination about prevention of failures and monitoring performance of equipment is for us priority. And our predictive maintenance is just step toward prescriptive maintenance, what we would like to be in very near future. And we're seeing Senseye as a tool, great tool to support us on that way.
So that's actually interesting. So you were talking about it's about it's not just about keeping machines running and saving downtime, but it's actually about keeping them productive as well. Are there any other sort of benefits that you've seen from the system? Maybe because there's other sort of outcomes we talk about. So being able to work more precisely, let's say. So if you're, I don't know how many. Actually, that's a good question. How many assets are you monitoring at the minute with Senseye? As a rough number, maybe.
Right. It's hard to say. It's about 100, but when you say 100, one machine is basically has pump, electromotor pump or gearbox, so it could be 3 different components.
I see. So
we call that instances. So you would say right now we have about 100 instances. And if you look at individual parts of different equipment, this is about 300-400. And for us is what is right now a limitation, because we are right now in the phase of monitoring only equipment which has continuous monitoring sensors. And our next step to be adding those route-based data collection, what we called based on the operator or tradesman walking around collecting data and processing those data too. So that's going to be next phase for us. And this is what Senseye is showing. Couple, I would say, good features. First, that we can in the future, we are right now in the process testing how we're going to import those ODR, operant driven reliability data, to Senseye and process those data. And second thing, what is Senseye, I think, great, that we are processing data from different brands. We see future that chip sensors gonna drive that future of the monitoring, and we see that chip sensors, but we don't like to be locked up with one manufacturer sensors, because sensors industry is the huge and very fast and dynamic market, and it's every day is showing new better sensors. And Senseye is now showing capability that we can read for different type of sensors, different manufacturers, and everything. Everything what is basically cloud-based, you can now incorporate in Senseye. And this is huge advantage for us, even for Senseye, because if you switch any of those companies, big like Emerson, Rockwell, SKF, Bentley, Nevada, everybody prefer their own instruments and own sensors. So you are locked up, and we know that every of those companies have ups and downs, they improving and they stuck. And we think that future going to be in the chip sensors, and we would like to be able to choose our sensors, whatever we want, what best fit for us. And we need one platform which capable of processing all those data. That's some kind of summary.
Yeah, so that's interesting. So what you're saying is that the advantage of Senseye really is that it's sensor agnostic. So you can connect to any sensor. You're not locked into a particular type of sensor or from a particular company. You can use any sensor that can fit your particular requirements.
Correct. And this is right now, for example, we just now introduced in the process of testing of the self-powered sensors. Because if you think those wireless sensors, they are great, but look, those batteries, after a year or two, they died, you have to replace them in those things. So now we see in future on self-powered sensors, and we did buy some of them. And this is different type of sensors, not just vibration, temperature. We for example, we bought some steam traps, and right now we incorporate those sensors to Senseye. So instead of having different brands, different clouds, idea is that all of those great, we're gonna end up in one place, and that's gonna be Senseye. So now Senseye is reading our data from our process. We use data historian called ParkView, and we can incorporate whatever is on the process side, flows, pressures, level, whatever is we can import that. And we're doing that already. So when we look at our pump, we don't see just vibration. We see vibration, temperature, but we see flow of the pump, and we see amps of the pump. All those things together, differential pressure, all those things together give you a picture of the overall equipment health. So this is beyond traditional predictive maintenance, which monitoring just bearing failed, those things. Now we're getting in the performance of the equipment area.
And what the question I was going to ask is about which data sources are you pulling into let's say they're being pulled into Senseye to be analyzed. That's interesting. Completely get your point of view about having one place to do it rather than these different sort of siloed cloud platforms, each with different information. So what data is actually being pulled into Senseye?
Well, right now SKF was our main vibration data provider. So we importing from SKF vibration and temperature for route base. Also, we import from continuous monitoring systems, which we have. So we have continuous monitoring system, and mostly of them they are SKFs. But on our one of our turbine, we have ABB monitoring system, so we import it from ABB. On our second turbine, we have Bentley, Nevada, so we import for Bentley, Nevada. So now you can see that we have SKF, Bentley, ABB, and we have process data. And process data is, as I said, this is the park view. Whatever we have on the park view, what operator can see on the screen, we can import that, and this is what we're doing in Senseye. So you will see, or Everactive is the name of the company what we use for cell-powered sensors, what we're just testing. All of these things, they are sitting on different databases on different places, but connected to Senseye. Can you believe yourself, if you want to traditionally do diagnostics and I want to see, let's open Parkview to see that. Now let's open SKF. Let's look at Bentley, Nevada, look at ABB. All those self-data applications, they are separately sitting somewhere on different drive, different database. And this is what was very, time consuming and making picture to get everything in one. And that's the beauty of the Senseye,
So is that literally what you had to do before, is log into each platform, to each individual platform to monitor the machines?
We had partially that done through decision support. That automated diagnostic system, we were able to import process data and SKF vibration temperature, but we wouldn't be able to import anything from the cloud in that case.
Okay.
Everything's possible, but we found it was very difficult, But so right now, even now, our ODR is SKF ODR, but it's cloud version software, and vibration software is different. They don't communicate direct to each other. So it's one company provide us with different tools which don't communicate together.
Yeah, so that's actually a nice soundbite. I guess Senseye allows your different tools to communicate together and then provide the insights within the Senseye platform.
Correct.
I was going to ask as well, in terms of other, does Senseye integrate with any other tools at all, sort of maybe a CMMS platform or similar as well?
Yeah, so I didn't mention that our original intention was to connect build interface, and we bought that interface to our existing CMMS system. And unfortunately, just in the moment when we were ready to start doing that, our corporation, Mercer International, made decision to switch to SAP from whatever we had, Avantis, different providers. Now we are in the process of switching to different CMMS system, and that delayed actually building that interface with Senseye. And we think that it's very important that right now we have to do that manually. Without interface, we have to, all those work events, if you're doing on piece of equipment, we have to enter manually. Instead of having that, if we have that interface, it would redirect, from CMMS. So that's original. In near future, we're going to have that interface built. There's no question about that.
I see. So that's a future project to pull in to integrate with your maintenance system. Okay, no, that's great. So I was just wondering as well. So, are there any sort of examples of positive experiences? I hope there are that you've had with Senseye PDM, and that could be sort of significant results or just a light bulb moment where you've gone, "Wow, this is really, really made a big change to how we work."
Yeah. So again, our previous system was capable of processing huge amount of data. So just to give you one sense, right now we processing about 300,000 different readings a day. So everything's processed. So if without having tools to process data, it would be stupid to collect continuous monitoring system working data if you don't have tools to process data. So that's huge feature, and Senseye is definitely capable in doing that very well. Also, what is beauty of continuous data? So, for example, we had a great case that we have planned scheduled shutdown mill, and you know, when you're shutting down the mill, so you're lowering your tanks, you know, those things, and emptying everything. And you have planned work, what you're planning to accomplish during the shutdown. And guess what? During shutting down, we managed to damage certain equipment, critical equipment, by low flow in the tank, you know, pump was heavy cavitating, and those things. Or we had direct case what actually Senseye actually help us on our critical gearbox on digester. Basically, on a way when we're draining, that gearbox failed, and we were without having continuous monitoring system first, and second thing, tools like Senseye to process data. We recognize that. So if we didn't have that, we would finish shutdown and we would start up the mill, and that gearbox right on the startup would be, you know, identified, diagnosed that it's failed. So that would be delay our startup, you know, and everything significantly. So monitoring equipment on shutting down and finding those failures, I call that hidden failures, we were able to add that work, open and confirm, yes, that was really good call, and repair that piece of equipment and prevent that failure. Similar things happening on startups. When you're starting up the mill, so you replace the equipment and everything, and we have control quality program, but still certain things didn't go as we expect. And now catching those hidden failures on the startups, this is on unusual conditions. With traditional route-based data collection, you would never find those things. So you need really specific. First thing here, you have to have continuous monitoring system. You have to properly set up the instrument data collection. And on the top, you need some good tool which can do diagnostics for you. And this is not diagnostic as in just from vibration. For example, we have that low flow on the pump. And we introduced, you know, basically 4 different flow meters measuring flow on one pump. So operator can see individual, each flow meter doesn't see combine them. And only what is important for this pump is total flow. If you maintain that certain flow, a certain level, pump would not cavitate. Anyway, so those things are traditional predictive maintenance. You will never catch those things. Simple like that.
No, absolutely. And are there other? Cause it sounds like I was just wondering whether there are other things that you're doing now that you didn't think were possible, but before you had Senseye. Is there anything that sort of surprised you about? Oh, we can. There's more we can do.
No. There is the first thing is as I mentioned before. Now we can monitor performance of equipment. You know, we didn't have tools before to monitor performance. So that's the and this is not just as I said before. This is not just this is beyond preventing failures. As we said, piece of equipment fail and stop providing what is designed for, and this is what we're using Senseye for that. So traditionally, you would have certain thresholds. If you reach the threshold now, kick red light and those things. But now, for example, we have 5-6 different vacuum pumps, And now we can put all 5-6 pump together, not only vibration, we can put amps, we can put flows together, and we monitoring compare 5-6 different pumps. So all those pumps together, they provide vacuum. But now you can see individually how each pump is working, which one is doing better, which one is not doing. Same thing on the pulp machine. You have typically 3 different press sections. And when your pulp machine hit the high torque and sometimes break the sheet, you say, oh, what's really happened? Now we have tools that we can compare all 3 presses same time and look at them together. And now we can see which press is actually in deviation. And in future, there is another option. We're still not sure if Mercer gonna decide to use Senseye as a corporate tool or not. This is ahead of us decision. But our vision is that it would be, we have right now 2 mills in Germany, 4 pulp mills basically. Those pulp mills, they have typically similar equipment. We were able to, through those dashboards, create for typical equipment on different mill, and we would be able to compare each mill at the same time. So that would be another feature what I'm seeing in the future will be capable of using, What traditional tool is not possible.
No, it's not possible to see all of your different pumps, all of your different sites, all in one platform. Because I guess part of the beauty of Senseye is the navigation. It's so you can break it down so well by site that it just makes it easy to navigate, I guess.
Yeah, correct.
So I just wanted to ask as we come towards the end, I guess, is so would you recommend Senseye to other people and why, if that's the case?
I wouldn't extend contract with you if this is the case. Yeah, that's the first thing. Yeah, we just we are right in the end of first year, and we extended that contract right now. So that's first good sign. Yeah, I definitely, and I have to say, so far from pilot project to implementation, I was very impressed with support what Senseye did provide for us. You have great team, and that especially Natalie is one who managing our account. She was awesome from the training purpose, for learning purpose, and really, when we have not understanding why with certain case would trigger, she always had good explanation, So I used to say, doesn't matter which instrument, which software you provide, what kind of support you have, because all of them gonna have problems, no question about that. And how you gonna deal with those problems, this is for me more important. And Senseye was really, really above anybody else. Really impressed with that support. What I think that it's very, very important.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I'll pass on that feedback as well. But I also wanted to just touch on, it's going back a little bit as well. So during the initial deployment as well, was that same support there to make sort of that ease of deployment on the initial assets during the pilot and beyond, I guess, to where you are now? Have you had that support and a smooth process?
No, it was always on the high side, I would say. And for me, is just now we're gonna go to, I would say, next step is with Senseye project is, of course, adding more and more equipment and more sensors. They are coming, it's going to be more equipment adding, but giving to our operations tool, they can see that. So for me, it was even when Mark and Natalie came to visit us and had chance to meet our general manager. Guess what? Now general manager showed interest, and now he's using now Senseye, and now so all other people who before below him who didn't show some interest, now they are interested too. So that's great.
Yeah.
So introduction. Our next step is to introduction Senseye to operation and all key maintenance people. And vision is that we have anytime no condition of equipment. And if you think yourself like you are driver of the car, you know, you don't go and drive, and I'm driving Ford now, I'm going to Ford to see what's wrong with my car. Even if you go with Ford, they're going to ask you, oh, why did you come? You have to explain, So giving to driver opportunity, they can do certain things, what is done, what is conditioned. This is what I'm seeing, it's huge change. Traditionally, they would say, oh, call predictive maintenance, tell me status of that pump. And now they can see status of the pump by themselves. And not only that, they can see what did we do about that pump previously, record cases, how did we deal before. So this is ahead of us. One thing what I didn't mention, importance of implementation is the role of IT department. Without IT department and their support, we wouldn't be able to implement that successfully. So we were lucky that our IT department provide great support, and they dedicated one IT guy with us, and he was crucial part for success of implementation. So anybody who implement in the future, they have to make sure they have a local guy who works with them and support them fully. Without that, it's going to be project going to be very hard to implement. And this is outside of usually of Senseye control, right? This is usually incorporation with IT department. And so having an advanced or supportive IT department is very, very, I would say, critical.
No, absolutely. So, so I think we come to the end. I think that's answered most of my question. Are there any sort of other final thoughts you have, Dragan, at all, or do you think we've covered everything?
Yeah, just for us, I first hope that that support what we have till now is going to continue, because it's important that we have close relation. Because one thing is to have individual who supporting that program, but second thing is to have trained people around you how to use that system, And this is why you need somebody, because I will leave this company, I'm retiring, so who's gonna left and be capable to that system doesn't die when you leave, critical person, for that. So that and this is what I'm seeing, that Senseye is good in that, having some people who support the project. Only question for me is, we'll see about that acquisition about Siemens of the Senseye, how it's gonna future. I hope that's gonna be a positive role, because I know that Siemens is one of the most advanced companies in the world in automation business, and they have all set of other products which would probably fit with Senseye very well. That edge, for example, is one of my things what I would be very interesting to see how that's gonna be. So that's gonna be interesting to see future what's gonna happen with Senseye as a part of the Siemens.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Exciting times.
Yeah.
So I think that's all. But thank you very much for your time, Dragan, and speak to you soon.
Yeah, thank you guys, and I wish you guys great success and continuous improvement of your products, because there is lots of things what we can improve. I had chance to talk to your UK guys, some suggestions, and I'm glad that you guys listening end user. and trying to showing some interest to implement some of our suggestions how to improve your product, because I hope that we're gonna in very near future we're gonna know better your product than you guys.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean that's the ultimate aim, and a nice note to end on. So yeah, thank you very much. That's great.
Okay, thank you.